We are going to take you back in history, and we are going to talk about the most important discoveries that have changed our perception of history and our knowledge of our ancient Egyptian civilization and how it was perceived. And we are very much delighted to have our dear guest in the studio, Dr. Bassam Shammaa, the lecturer in Egyptology. Good morning, sir.
Good morning to you.
Well, Mr. Bassam, first of all, I'd like to ask you about one of your latest researches, which is rewriting history.
Yes.
And that would bring us to the concept of, can we rewrite history?
This is a good question, and it's a sensitive one as well. People get used to certain information, certain books, certain theories, certain facts, and then all of a sudden an excavation takes place somewhere else, and a piece of papyrus or a slab of limestone with a text carved on it will change the whole episode of this part of history. Civilizations are three types in my book of thought.
Yes.
First type is ambiguous, enigmatic, mysterious, and nothing is said. Nothing is known about it. Second type is enigmatic, ambiguous, but studied, and a percent of it is resolved. And the third is enigmatic and ambiguous and not resolved as well. We are in the middle. We are the ambiguous, the mysterious, but a part of it is resolved. Others are not, like building pyramids, like mummification, like all those things which still debated among historians. Can we rewrite Egyptian history? Yes, we can. Do we have any proofs to do that? Yes, we do. In the last, I would tell you, 10 years, excavations. And you will never believe what happened, for example, 2013. So can you believe that the history of 12, if you would like 1,000 years now, because 7,000 years of history, this is, of course, very old news now. Kent Weeks, the famous American Egyptologist who lived in Luxor for years and years, in his work, surprised us, a very nice surprise. All Egyptians should be very proud of it. He said, by the letter, what means people lived the Theban land, Luxor,
Yes.
at least since 500,000 years. Egyptians lived in Luxor at least since 500,000 years.
So was that based on the pre-dynastic excavations?
Exactly. The things that they found, the flint tools, maybe some weaponry to deal with hunting, the animals, and so on. So, and of course, if Kent Weeks is going to mention one sentence, it's going to be responsible, and he's not talking out of nothing. 2013, about 119 kilometers away from the beautiful city of Suez, with a beautiful museum that I advise people to be interested in. An excavation of a harbor, to be the most ancient harbor in the history of the Egyptians. We found lots of things in this excavation, but more importantly, number of papyri. And one of them is a written diaries of a boss of the government who's taking care of workers, about 200 men, he mentioned. What are you going to do with those 200 men, Mr. Merer? That's his name, Merer. Nobody knew anything about Merer. I didn't know, nobody knew. Merer was a no name in our history. Until 2013, you're asking me, can you rewrite history? Of course we can. With a guy like Merer, yes, we can.
Is he the overseer? They were related to transporting some of the materials for the pyramid construction?
Well done, well said, well said. He mentioned in this diary, and that is the importance of such excavation, and this will give a guy like me, who is a writer or an author in Egyptology, is, I would say, the papyrus is saying so and so. So you want to debate me? Well, let's go back to our papyrus. He mentioned in this text, in his diaries, that he is taking his workers on the boat to Torah, to the nowadays Torah, in Muqatta.
Yes.
And
in Cairo.
And if you mention Torah, you directly mention the limestone, the good quality, the excellent quality of limestone, which the ancient Egyptians used in outer casing the pyramid. not in building the pyramid. Building the pyramid itself is from the local quarries in Giza.
Yes.
But to outer case the pyramid, he would go to Torah, he would bring the most amazing, beautiful quality of whitish limestone, and that would make the pyramid at the end, as one author described it, blinding white. What you see today from the pyramid of Khufu, for example,
Yes.
is what the ancient Egyptians didn't see. The ancient Egyptians saw it with a beautiful outer casing of Torah. Merer is bringing blocks of stones to go and deliver it to Giza. Now, the text is mentioning in the cartouche the royal name of Khuf, not Khufu. So Khunum Khuf, that is the typical original name of the king.
Which has changed with by time.
Into Khufu. So that makes this papyrus a valuable papyrus, very precious one, because it also mentions the original name of this king Khufu that we all know about. So he's mentioning in the year 26. Well, we all knew that Khufu ruled for 24 years. We studied that in the university. We read it in books of famous people.
That has changed.
Changed because he's mentioning that this is the year 26th of, they call it, we call it regnal year.
Yeah.
This is the expression that we use in Egyptology, regnal year, from reign, from ruling. So 26th, hello, we were saying for years 24. Well, now 26, but you have to be careful, at least 26. So historian came up and said he ruled for 30 years. So now we are changing this part of the history. Is it important? Of course it's important.
Indeed.
Because by changing those years, you will have to push all the other kings more, 4 or 6 years more. And that will change the chronological design of the Egyptian history. Can you believe that? One piece of papyrus can do that.
And it would change also the debate about how many years did it take to construct the pyramid, because his regnal years now are longer, so then that means that he had more span of time.
Because, well said again, because people were saying 8 years, they could have done it in 12 years, people are saying less, people are saying more. But at the end of the day, we are very happy with that. Here is one papyrus telling you this surprise. Now, the coming surprise to me was even bigger.
Yes.
He is mentioning that he's reporting this Merer, this man came out of the blues to change the history of Egypt. I love Merer. So Merer is telling us that he's reporting to a gentleman. His name is Ankh-Haef. Now, Ankh-Haef to us is the statue, the beautiful reddish, brownish, reddish, orangey statue, half statue, bust statue in Boston Museum in the United States of America of the famous architect of the second pyramid. So Hem-Iyunu is the architect of the Great Pyramid. Ankh-Haef is the architect and the engineer of the second pyramid. That we knew for years, and I wrote a booklet about Hem-Iyunu and everything, right? For Merer to come to us and telling that he's reporting to Ankh-Haef, when that means that Ankh-Haef participated in the building of Khufu with Hem-Iyunu. So Khufu now, 2 famous engineers or architects participated in the building, and one of them went on and worked on the second. Now that gives you an idea. It's food for thought, because everybody believes that Khufu, or most of the people, or the majority of people who is not like into Egyptology, they believe that Khufu, Khafra, Menkaura. So Khufu, Cheops, Khafre, Mycerinus, that's cool. Well, this is wrong, because between Khufu and Khafra, there is a king. Jedefra. And nobody mentions Jedefra. Poor guy. Why? Because he didn't build the pyramid in between. He didn't build the pyramid in the plateau itself. He went somewhere else. So nobody remembers Jedefra, poor Jedefra. Would that mean that Ankh-Haef participated in the building of the pyramid between the first and the second big ones? So yes, my dear, we can rewrite history, and that's what I did lately. And this makes us, it's good and good. Good because it makes us right. It's good because after you finish a piece of work, like you finish your book or your essay or your theory or your lecture, and then you go, oh, I'll have to add this one. I'll have to add this part. So it's endless. You cannot finish your book because it's endless.
So the study of history and Egyptology is not static, as some people are assuming, because we do have discoveries that change all our perceptions of our history. What are also the most important discoveries that have changed your perception of the Egyptian history?
Thank you for this question, because you remember when we were young, all right? We used to say that we used to hear that we excavated 30% of our monuments. That figure was mentioned by the head of Egyptology in this country and the world at that time. And okay, he's saying that, he knows his stuff. And then all of a sudden, we got introduced to a lady, an amazing lady, called Sarah Parkak. Bless her. From here, if she's watching us, bless you, Sarah Parkak. Sarah Parkak is a lady, is an Egyptologist, she's a lecturer, and at the same time, she is working with satellite imaging of monuments. So what she does is this: she would bring the pictures of the satellite, NASA, black and white. We in Egyptology love black and white pictures. I like pictures and color and everything, but I adore black and white. Why? Because in black and white, it shows more. It shows the shadows. It shows very fine details in the monuments that we are studying. So she would believe, rightly, that houses of ancient Egyptians made out of mud brick would absorb water or dew in the morning, or humidity, or the river Nile flooding, and it will suck the water and it will remain in the mud black. It will turn the mud into a more blackish color, while the others are going to be whitish and yellowish. So by the pictures, she found thousands of undiscovered before monuments of humans and of the people, not of the kings. And she also says that she saw from those pictures pyramids that we did not know anything about. So that was one great surprise by Sarah Parkak, depending upon the satellite image. And then she seals her amazing discoveries by this sentence. In Egypt, less than 1% of what was there is excavated. We, all through those years, excavated only less than 1%.
1%?
1% of what was there. I'm telling you, the greatest temples in the world, Karnak, standing today. Bear in mind, I'm telling you, more than 60 tombs in the Valley of the Kings. More than hundreds of tombs in the Valley of the Nobles. Over 70 in the Valley of the Queens. Sharqiya, the great capital of Ramesses II the Great. I'm talking Alexandria, I'm talking Greco-Roman, I'm talking Persian, I'm talking Macedonian. I'm talking country over country over country over country. I'm talking Islamic, I'm talking Greek, I'm talking Coptic, I'm talking modern. Remember Nubia, remember the Oasis, remember Sinai. All these are less than 1% of what we are expecting to find under our beautiful golden sands. Are we expecting more than 99% of the same monuments we have today to multiply it by 99? Can you all imagine this sentence? Coming out from who? From an Egyptologist, lecturer in university, researcher, NASA, and satellite imaging.
Now, I'm quite curious about the satellite images you've just mentioned, especially concerning the pyramids. Did she elaborate, like, are these stone or are they mud? Because if you recall, during the Middle Kingdom, it was mud, the core were mud and the outside just stone, while Old Kingdom, for instance, more or less it was different type of limestone, whether local or of Torah. So did she elaborate on what type of pyramids from this imaging? Because you've mentioned that actually the material varies in the color. So did she elaborate on that or not?
She would elaborate that by using the exact same words that you use, which is, I would differentiate in black and white imaging between mud brick and other stones like limestone, for example, or pink granite. Okay, this is the Karnak temples, we know it. So X, that is out of the calculation, you know what I mean? So take it out. So when you find something dark in this image, and by the way, she also showed us in pictures, in satellite pictures, the holes, the small holes, which the satellite took of the illicit and the illegal excavations.
The burgers.
The
robbers.
Yes.
The robbers.
Yeah.
And amazingly enough, she showed us 2 pictures of one before, which was whitish. The desert was white. Places in Dahshur, and places in Dahshur, the place was. And then those holes, and then those holes. It's the increase of those illicit and illegal. And talking of illegal and illegal excavations, I would like to mention here what happened 3 days ago in El Minya, when they caught this guy with some monuments under a house. There is a trend for the last few years of people digging under their own houses. I'm saying, those houses will collapse on your heads and you will die, suffocating in the sand. And that's what exactly happened. And if you get caught, you will go to prison. And if you sold those monuments, you will sell it to you know who, who's dying to take our excavations and our civilization. So what are you are doing 3 things which is really not only against morals and against good deeds, those are against your country, against your people.
Indeed.
But a great salutation to the people who caught them. And they said it is the monuments of King Seti II. And then I came up and I declared in the press that this is not Seti II. Seti II is not in El Minya. Seti II is in the Valley of the Kings, in tomb number 15, 1-5. In the KV, they call it like this, KV 15, Kings Valley 15. So they declared after me, yes, this is not Seti.
But how did this confusion happen?
The cartouche, the royal name, which was carved on a big slab that was caught with the guy, the illicit guy, the illegal guy, was read Seti II. And then I said the cartouche is not Seti II. Nowadays, today, we are awaiting the people of the Ministry of Antiquities who went, and I communicated with the ministry, and I said, I am saying this is not the cartouche. It's a wrong cartouche. If it is a wrong cartouche, that means not only that we are facing illegal gangs, we are dealing with people who are exactly forging monuments and forging it wrong. So he's not even looking in the books while he's carving the cartouche.
So from that, is it, could it be that that's an official who lived in that area during the reign of King Seti and he left the cartouche, or is the cartouche itself the way we're used to seeing King Seti's name is not written in the correct way?
The second.
The second one.
second.
So the
When I
cartouche
looked
is incorrect itself.
Yes. When I looked at the figures and the characters which is composing the name, I saw Set. So probably he carved Set. So Seti.
But he
and
didn't know the rest of the epithets.
Then and some characters are like, what is this doing in the cartouche?
So most probably either the
guy who
Nisubifi
showed
or
him
the Sara, one of them, the rest of the initials.
The guy who showed him the
wrong.
picture showed him a wrong picture. And is it another king? No. Because I communicated with experts in hieroglyphs. I'm not an expert, I'm very ABC hieroglyphs. So I said, guys, I have my doubts. Would you please put my doubts to rest? Is this a correct cartouche? This is not the cartouche of Seti II. This is not the cartouche of anybody.
Nor Seti the first.
Nor Seti the first. So I communicated with this and with that, and big characters, very, very well educated characters. They said, you are right, Bassam. I went to the idea that 2 days ago I put on the internet, anybody on my Facebook from the experts of hieroglyphs, can you tell me please, am I wrong? And then I communicated with the ministry itself, with the office of the minister, who replies on the spot. The ministry is replying on the spot. So I'm expecting an answer today, an official answer. Is this cartouche correct or not? If I'm correct, then the cartouche is incorrect. If I'm incorrect, then the cartouche is correct.
But most probably, because I understand also that in your major, you've studied the major cartouches. And the cartouches are more or less, they are like the stamp of the king. So more or less they are unchangeable. And we can recognize them if you...
You're right.
This is one of the things that I'm sure that 100% you know all these 30 dynasties cartouches. So I think that most probably if you've seen it and out of your knowledge incorrect, most probably it would be. But that would be meaning that there is a huge forgery market.
That is what I'm pointing my finger at. And I'm pointing my finger to our officials who caught the guy.
Yeah.
Try to see this collection that you saw in the pictures, this is giving me a very strange vibes. Very
Was
strange
it painted or not?
It was not painted.
Because if it's painted, they can use carbon dating.
The carbon dating does not work on stone.
Even if it had pigments? Because
if it's pigments made out of, you are right, organic stuff, then yes.
Yes.
Yes, because carbon-14 works on organic stuff.
Yes.
But I will tell you what, check it, guys, check it.
Yes.
Right, Seti II, Elminia, new excavation, Kota Gai, you will find lots of things.
Yes.
Check this cartouche and the hieroglyphs under it. You will notice, as my friend Mr. Magdi Shaker, a very famous Egyptologist, said, Bassam, this is not the hit of an adze, of a hammer and an adze of a royal sculpture.
And do you believe that the forgery did happen recently, or it was
Here's a
long
good question,
time ago?
because people will say, was that forged in the ancient times? Were there forgeries in ancient times? Of course there were forgeries in ancient times. They were humans, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you will be amazed to know that the people found mummies wrapped and nothing inside. So as if a guy who wants to dedicate a mummy of an animal or a bird to the temple, but he couldn't afford buying a cat or an ibis, so he wraps it and nothing is inside. So, so even thousands of years ago, there were people thinking this way. We're humans, right? We're humans. Humans 2,000 years ago, humans now. So if it was forged, I would believe it would be forged recently, because as my friend said, Mr. Magdi Shaker said, the hit is not a royal hit. The carving is not a royal carving. Look at the ankh. The ankh is not well done. Look at the snake. It is not correctly placed. This is not a way that the king will come and take a look at it in his temple and say, I agree. No. You are not going to dare, as a sculptor, as a royal sculptor, to do a work like this and go to the king and say, oh, well, how do you like it? Oh, you are fired.
The idea of the grid is not there.
Exactly. The grid, well said.
So you believe, Mr. Bassam, that it's a forgery that happened recently?
Yes, very strongly. And by this, if I'm today we're gonna know. So keep posted with me. I'm like, I wrote this a couple of days ago, and I said, I'm like being in a Thanawiya Amma. I'm
waiting
gonna
for
find
the
an examination. But that's what makes our job very exciting. We're always on our toes. Those ancient Egyptians are always keeping us on our toes. Are we correct? Are we not correct?
And at a certain moment, many of your ideas about the ancient Egyptian civilization can change.
Oh yes, my dear. Oh yes, my dear. But you have to have the courage, and that's what I'm telling my colleagues. You have to have the courage to come and sit on this sofa next, I don't know, week or whatever, inshallah, and I would, God willing, and I would say, I was correct in the cartouche of Sayyid II. It's a forgery, yes. And I feel happy, and I feel as if I'm having 3 kids all of a sudden, you know, so I'm very happy. And lately, I've been experiencing that a lot, so I'm on cloud now. As I'm talking to you, I'm on cloud 9. I'm very happy because there are lots of things that I said, and
they were correct.
People at the beginning were saying, oh, Bassam is saying we are not the first people to mummify. Because we were brought up to know that we are the first people to do mummification. So no, the Shinkoro mummies in Chile, approximately 2,000 years before us, but they mummified in a certain way,
in a different
which is
way.
not in a different way. Well said, in a different way. It varies. We mummified. Yemen mummified, by the way. Yemen, the culture of Yemen, mummified, beautiful mummification.
Yet different again.
Yet different. They used wool and honey. Different. The beautiful Shinkoro mummies, they sometimes cut the skull to get the brain out. We brought it from the nostrils, we brought it from and so on.
So,
they used, for example, straw and mud. They would cover the mummy in mud. That's why it's called black mummies. The Shinkoro mummies of Chile. So when I said this, people were shocked, and you will be laughing your head off to see the comments that I received, me and Al-Ahram, when I declared that in Al-Ahram. You will laugh. But at the same time, and people sometimes said harsh words about me. Oh, you are the, how much you got? And like, guys, we are a confident civilization.
Indeed.
We are a cross-legged civilization. We sit confident. We are not to run after something which is not ours. Algeria has got 13 pyramids. Algeria, the beautiful Algeria, 13
But
pyramids.
these were
We
during the Roman.
124.
Yes, but these were during the Roman period, copied after the ancient Egyptian
See?
style.
Do you remember in the beautiful Nubia,
Yeah.
when the Sudanese official, our
Yes.
brother there, said, we are before, the Nubian pyramids were before the pyramids of
Then
Giza.
it appeared
No,
25th dynasty.
no. This
Yeah.
is after. But they have 200 pyramids in Nubia, in northern Sudan. We have 124. But different pyramids. But here is the civilization, here's it. Finally, the good thing about this is what? What am I aiming at? I'm aiming for one thing. History is not a dead science. History and civilization, study of civilization is not dead. Absolutely not. It is very much alive, very much changing, and very much on the go. So keep with it. We Egyptians have to keep with it. Or else we are going to wake up one day, oh, we have a bigger here and we have an older here. We have to open our minds to any proven facts, even if it would make us number 2 on something, not a number 1, because we are number 1 in many other things.
So and
Absolutely.
yes, indeed.
Absolutely.
Well, I'm quite curious about your research, because I remember when calling you yesterday on the phone, you told me that actually your research is over 700 pages. How long did that take you?
Okay, my dear. Here I'm going to say one sentence, and here is for our young tour guides and Egyptologists.
Yes.
Yes.
When you get into history, you marry Egyptology. All right? You marry this science. You are not a scholar you're working 2 hours a day on your desk and then bye-bye.
Yes.
No, you marry it. It's like your wife. And your kids are the books. So, yes, finally I finished my 700 pages, big pages encyclopedia.
Yeah.
But the funny thing and the good thing about this encyclopedia is that it's endless. It's endless. Can you imagine me printing this book before, for example, I knew about Merer and knowing about Ankh-Khaef being participant in the first pyramid? I would die of frustration that I didn't add this to my... When the Batariya excavation took place, remember the Batariya
Yes.
statues? You will never believe. In, I don't know, fractions of a second, I'm sitting with our beautiful government, Dar al-Ma'arif, and I'm saying, I want to write a book about the excavation about Matariya. A small book for kids, 20, 30 pages with pictures. Okay, but Sam, do it. Do it, deliver. So it's like this. It's like you get excited.
Yes.
And this encyclopedia is not only for Egyptian history, by the way. So it's mentioning other things. It's mentioning things like, as I said, in Saudi, in Saudi Arabia, in a place called Tabuk. Tabuk, by the way, to those who don't know where is the governorate of Tabuk in Saudi Arabia, Tabuk is when you pass the peninsula of Sinai, Tabuk is on the other side. So if you pass the Red Sea or the Suez Canal, you are on Aqaba, and from Aqaba to the other side. In Tabuk, there is an oasis called Tayma Oasis. Near Tayma Oasis, on a beautiful cliff, carving as if it was carved yesterday. Ramesses III, 2 cartouches with hieroglyphs. Meaning, I made a lecture called Ramesses in Saudi. You tell me if this sentence 10 years ago would make sense to you. Saudi, and it's proven, correct?
This is interesting, because usually we go up to the Euphrates, but we never mention the area of
You always go to the
Saudi
Levant,
Arabia.
Al-Sham.
Yes.
You always go to Palestine, the beautiful Palestine.
Yes.
You always go to the Phoenicians, Lebanon.
Yes.
In Gobeil, Byblos, where the Egyptians went, in ancient Egyptians went to bring wood.
Yes.
And my friend went to Gobeil, and I would tell her, please bring me with you some books about Gobeil. And I'm reading the books, and I'm going through, and I'm seeing Hathor.
In Syria.
Hathor is in Byblos, is in Lebanon. Hathor is in Lebanon. Can you believe? The female deity of beauty and attraction and woman is in Lebanon. What? Lebanese culture. Look at the Egyptian lady as she is the sign of beauty. Now here is a sentence to our Egyptian women. You were the emblem of beauty in Lebanon.
Now the Lebanese ladies and Syrian ladies are.
You know what I mean?
Especially Lebanese.
Oh, but that's I'm mentioning BC. I don't
Yeah.
know about it.
Indeed, Dr. Bassam Shammaa, our lecturer in Egyptology, thank you very much, and waiting to know the results of the cartouche, hopefully. Yes. And with that, our dear viewers, we come to the end of this segment of the breakfast show, of the first segment. Now we'll go to watch this feature story by Dina Yunus, and after that, we'll be back with the second segment, so stay tuned.